Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to Mickey in Minutes. I'm your host, Nick Lazaga, and this is the weekly top three, where I give you the three biggest Disney news stories of the week in under 15 minutes. Hopefully, if I do this right, there's going to be a timer and everything. So, thanks so much for joining me. Don't forget to like and subscribe on this video or podcast. If you're listening to us on the podcast feed, thank you so much. So, follow on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. If my voice sounds a little hoarse, it's because I've been a little sick the last couple of days. So that's why I didn't record this yesterday. But you know what? The show must go on. We're going to press on. So now on to the top three biggest news stories of the week. All right, our 15-minute timer starts right now. The first story is no more bus transportation for non-resort guests from Disney Springs starting after July 4th. So there's some misconceptions about this and there's some truth behind this, and it's kind of controversial. So let's go ahead and talk about it. So what they're actually doing is they're going to be looking for an active Walt Disney World Resort hotel reservation or a confirmed dining reservation at a Disney Resort hotel or a confirmed Disney Resort recreation activity for a Disney hotel for you to get on a bus from Disney Springs to, well, a Disney Resort hotel. Now, the misconception here has been that, oh no, now non-resort guests can never use buses at Disney World and blah, blah, blah. That's not true. So this will become permanent after July 4th, and they actually tried this. They did a trial run of this system around Easter, and they were scanning like magic bands and tickets to look for these items, and apparently this was very successful. And so they're going to be implementing this permanently. This is only for Disney Springs, and basically it's because people can park for free at Disney Springs. And there's been a lot of people taking advantage of the system and parking for free at Disney Springs and then going to a resort and then from there going to the parks and, avoiding the parking fees at the parks. Now, I've heard people say, well, annual pass holders, deserve to use the transportation and they're not always staying on property. Sure. But I'm pretty sure, correct me if I'm wrong, but most annual pass holders have parking for the theme parks on their annual passes, right? So, that's not really the concern. The concern here is, well, overcrowding on the buses and people who are staying off property using them to get out of paying for parking. Now, my opinion may be kind of controversial, but I think this is a good idea. I think all the free transportation around Walt Disney World, the buses, the Skyliner, the monorail, all of that should be exclusively for Disney Resort guests. Now, yes, I know I am somebody who doesn't live in Orlando, right? And every time I go to Disney World, I'm a Disney Resort guest. I don't ever stay off property. I've done that very, very rarely. But I'm of the belief that if I'm going to Disney, I'm going to be in that Disney bubble the entire time. And the buses are crazy. They're overcrowded, right? And I'm not just talking from Disney Springs, I'm talking all over the resort, from the parks especially. And I think Disney might be realizing that a lot of this overcrowding is due to non resort guests using this system. And, people who stay on property, whether you're staying at a value or a deluxe resort, we're paying a lot of money and oftentimes more money than what people are paying to stay off property. And frankly, we don't have a lot of perks anymore, right? They've gotten rid of a lot of our perks. We still have early entry and stuff, but that's about it. So I think the transportation being exclusively for resort guests is a great idea, right? And if you're an annual pass holder, you probably have free parking. And if you're staying off property, then what I think a solution would be, and you guys are probably going to hate me for this, but a transportation ticket, right? An add-on, right? You already add on your lightning lanes and your park hoppers to your park tickets, right? So maybe add a transportation ticket that you can scan and then use all of the transportation, the buses, and everything else, the Skyliner and the monorails. And I think that's a simple solution. And, if you want to avoid that fee, it's just another reason to stay on property, right? A lot of people think they're saving so much money by staying off property. And then they also think that Disney nickel and dimes you, which, both might be true depending on the situation. But I think this could be a good solution. If you don't want to pay for it, then, you pay for a ride share or something like that to get around the parks. But, I'm okay with Disney plugging these loopholes, right? Disney has these rules for a reason, um, you know, and people have always find their way around them. And I think giving more perks to resort guests is a good idea. So the question is, when this becomes permanent for buses, will this roll out to other parts of the resort, not just Disney Springs, right? Will they start scanning magic bands or other things at the resorts and at the parks, right? If you're going to go on a resort transportation on a bus or something from the parks, would you need to scan a magic band or something there? And then the question is, will they roll this out to the other systems, to the monorail, which is extremely overcrowded, right? Think about getting on that monorail after a Magic Kingdom day. It's crazy, right? The ferry boats too. We can't forget about the ferry boats, and definitely the Skyliner, which is also overcrowded. So what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. Do you think that this change is good? Do you think it's going to cause too much congestion over at the bus depots at Disney Springs, with people being confused and then arguing it? And that could cause a problem, but I'm sure they could streamline it. I don't know. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down below. Am I wrong? Am I the bad guy for thinking that this should be exclusive to resort guests, or do you agree with me on that? Let me know. All right. The second story we're going to cover here, we're doing okay on time, about 9 minutes left, is the first look at the wetlands, the play area at Disney Lakeshore Lodge. So Disney started doing this thing for updates on the new DVC resort over by Fort Wilderness called Lakeshore Lodge, and they're doing this thing called Letters from Lakeshore, and it's their postcard series, I guess they're calling it, on Disney Parks blog, where they're just giving us updates on this. And the postcard, if you will, from June 17th was all about the wetlands play area. Now, I have some thoughts about this. This whole resort in general is very controversial. If you don't know, this is taking up the place, the spot that used to be occupied by River Country. River Country has my heart. It's always going to have my heart. It's, I'll be honest, it's the only Disney water park I've ever been to. Maybe that's weird, but I love it. I have such great memories there because we used to stay at Fort Wilderness all the time. And now there's this huge eyesore of a DVC resort going in there. But anyway, so they were sharing these images of the new water play area that they're calling the wetlands, and it's inspired by Pocahontas, which in my brain, was Pocahontas in the wetlands? I don't think Pocahontas was swimming through swamps. I think that was a river, Disney. So already kind of a weird disconnect. But they're specifically theming it to the lyric from Colors of the Wind, where it says, "The heron and the otter are my friends." And so there's going to be a heron play area and an otter play area. And it's very interesting. So according to the Disney Parks blog, it says the wetlands will be thoughtfully designed with both fun and relaxation in mind. And it's inspired by the music of Pocahontas, particularly that lyric. So first part they talk about is Heron Shores. It says Heron Shores will welcome exploration and hands-on play with imaginative climbing features, while just around the river bend, the other section, Otter Springs, comes to life with interactive water features where little ones can cool off as they splash and slide. And then nearby, there's the lazy river called the Daydream River. Now, if you haven't seen these pictures, go look at them. It's like a weird combination of origami meets the old Honey, I Shrunk the Kids movie set adventure play area from Hollywood Studios, and then mixed with modern water parks and water play areas. So they have this giant otter that spits out water, but again, he looks like he's origami. It's really strange, but it's all made out of wood, I guess. And then there's like the heron area, which again, she looks like, or he or she, I guess, it looks like it's made out of paper, but it's like wood. I don't know. It's very, very, very stylized. And it looks kind of weird to me. So I just got back from Alani. I'm sure you guys know that I've said that 100,000 times. But the lazy river area at Alani is breathtaking. It was designed by Joe Rohde, the Imagineer who designed Disney's Animal Kingdom, and there are details everywhere. But they're not like these Lakeshore Lodge pictures where it's just like over the top stylized characters. It's subtle details like roots breaking through rocks and a bridge over the water with a sign that says 1923 and like different details like that. And then you go through a cave and it's just so beautiful. This looks like very modern. And then they have the Lakeside Lagoon area, which is their zero entry feature pool, which again, it looks very modern. It has like a backsplash, like tile along the side, and there's like a water slide and stuff. I don't know. It feels weird. For this being the Lakeside Lodge Resort, I pictured it being a little bit more rustic, almost like a summer camp kind of vibe, like a summer camp on the lake kind of vibe. And that's not what they're doing here. It looks weird. It looks interesting, oversized, animals, and I don't know. It seems all over the place with theming, but that's what I've been saying from the beginning about Lakeshore Lodge, where they're trying to do Pocahontas and Brother Bear and Princess and the Frog, and I don't even know what's going on. But this is a weird direction. Personally, I think it would have been better if they would have themed this to river country, or take the idea of river country, a rustic swimming hole, and theme it to like a lakeside lodge, like like an old-fashioned summer camp, right? I think that would have been really cool. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. What do you think of these pictures of the Lakeshore Lodge Pocahontas themed play area, water play area? I don't know. It's weird, but I have just under 4 minutes to do one more story for your weekly top 3. And the last story is this new experience coming over to Disney's Boardwalk Resort, and that is taking over Jelly Rolls. We have a place called the Hurly-Burly Jazz Club, and this looks beautiful in the pictures. Now, I'll be honest, I never went to Jelly Rolls, so, but I know there's a lot of controversy over there and with its closure and stuff, but this place looks awesome. So there's like a jazz club and a jazz band on the stage here. And I just finished watching Spider Noir on Amazon Prime, and that show is amazing. It takes place in like the 30s, right around the end of Prohibition, and this makes me think of that. And if they could just do that here, I think it could be amazing. And we already know that Disney does live jazz music really well. If you've ever been to Jollywood Nights and you've seen Rachel and the Alley Cats, they're the band that perform over at the Twilight Soiree by Tower of Terror. They're incredible. They're absolutely amazing. And if they could just do that here, I mean, honestly, let's make Rachel and the Alley Cats the house band for Hurly-Burly. What do you guys think of that? I would be all over that. But a live jazz venue seems great. But not just that, during the daytime, it's going to be open for all ages. It says on Disney Parks blog that during the afternoon, guests can drop by for family-friendly activities like trivia and other games led by a charismatic host. And then by night, Hurly-Burly will transform into a live music venue for 21 and older. It says classic coastal-inspired cocktails, tasty light bites, and then, of course, the live music. So I'm all for this. This whole like refresh of the boardwalk that's been going on for a little while, and it's still going on. It seems nice. I mean, I don't know if you think Cake Bake Shop was a miss. It's beautiful, but I've never been in there because I'm not going to pay like over $30 for a slice of cake. But I like what they're doing with the area. It seems pretty cool. When Hurly-Burly opens, I definitely want to check it out. I'm not sure. Did they post? All right. It doesn't have an exact opening date, but it says set to open late 2026. So I'm here for it. What do you guys think of a jazz club coming to the Boardwalk? I think this is going to be awesome. What do you guys think of the idea that Rachel and the Alley Cats could be the house band there? I think that would be absolutely amazing. But just more live music in Walt Disney World in general. I think that'd be great. So, with 55 seconds left on the timer, I did it. I talked about the biggest three Disney news stories, according to me, in under 15 minutes. That is Mickey in minutes for you guys. So thanks so much for tuning in. I hope that you enjoyed the show. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, don't forget to rate and review the show. If you're watching on YouTube, thank you so much. Don't forget to like and subscribe and leave your comments and thoughts on these news stories down below. This has been so much fun, you guys. I'm your host, Nick Lazaga. This is Mickey in Minutes, and I will see you next time. Bye.